translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Vamanadev continued, because of Bali Maharaj's great tolerance, I have given him a place not obtainable even by the demigods. He will become king of the heavenly planets during the period of the Manu known as Savarni. Purport. This is the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even if the Lord takes away a devotee's material opulences, the Lord immediately offers him a position of which the demigods cannot even dream. There are many examples of this in the history of devotional service. One of them is the opulence of Sudama Vipra. Sudama Vipra suffered severe material scarcity, but he was not disturbed and did not deviate from devotional service. Thus he was ultimately given an exalted position by the mercy of the Lord. Here in this verse, the word Mad Ashraya is very significant, because the Lord wanted to give Bali Maharaj the exalted position of Indra. The demigods might naturally have become envious of Bali and might have fought to disturb his position. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vamanadev, assured Bali Maharaj that he would always remain under the Lord's protection, Madashraya. Sometimes I think that this Vyasasana is like the air traffic controller's room at the Delhi airport. There's all these birds, and birds are always flying over your head, just like in the airport. There's the air traffic control tower, where the person brings the airplanes into the Delhi airport, and they fly over his head this way and that way. So you sit here. It's a good test of this verse, because Srila Prabhupada, in the Sanskrit of this verse, Lord Vamanadev uses the word Madashraya. Ashraya. What is the meaning of Ashraya? Ashraya means shelter. Ashraya means protection. But Ashraya also means resting place. So Prabhupada took this word Madashraya and he translated it as meaning tolerance. And so he starts a verse by saying, he glorifies Bali Maharaj. Vamanadev is speaking this. Because of his great tolerance, I have given him a place that is not obtainable even by the demigods. Actually, the verse itself, it reads, Mad Ashraya. Because Vamanadev has taken full shelter in me, I have given him a place that's not even equal to it surpasses the position of the demigods. So Prabhupada makes a very nice point. He takes this Madashraya, which means resting place, protection, and shelter, and he says, because of his tolerance. So one point that's made in this verse is by having one quality, you will get dushprapam. The word there is dushprapam. Prapa means prapti. Prapti means to acquire, to attain, to achieve. And dush means very difficult. So Vamanadev says, Stanam dushprapam. Stanam means place. Means place. Like we have Lila Stali, Rasa Stali, Krishna's Vamsivad. These are Stanam. Stanam means places of Krishna's pastimes. So this is also a Stanam. This is Sitaram's Stanam. Radhaparthasarthi's Stanam. This is their Lila Stanam, a place of their pastimes. Krishna has come into this world in this form of the Archamurti to engage in pastimes. So the Archamurti, the Lord has descended as his Archamurti here in this Stanam, this Lila Stanam of Hare Krishna Hill, to engage in pastimes. So Vamanadev is saying in this verse, Stanam dushprapam. He's saying that you can attain a very difficult to attain place. You can attain a place which is very difficult to attain. How will you attain that place? If you have this quality of tolerance. Prabhupada said, because of his tolerance, Bali Maharaj was able to attain this wonderful position of having the Lord, Vamanadev, become his doorman on an opulent planet, Sutala Loka. So this is the one message of the verse, that if a devotee can develop this quality of tolerance, he can achieve the topmost destiny. So, how do we develop tolerance? Or what is tolerance? What does it mean to be tolerant? We see in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains tolerance. We see that Kapila Dev, he explains, when he's asked by his mother, Mother Kunti asked Kapila, what is a sadhu? What are the lakshana, the characteristics of a saintly person? How can I judge when I meet a saintly person? Because I meet so many people in this world. How do I know when I meet a saintly person? So then Kapila Dev, he answered the question of his mother Kunti by saying, Titikshava Kurunika, Suridam Savadehanam. First word that Kapila said was Titikshava. Titikshava means tolerant. And Kurunika, he's merciful. So Prabhupada said these are the two primary qualities of a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava is a devotee of Vishnu or Krishna. A Krishna devotee, a Krishna bhakta. He is tolerant and he's compassionate. Karuna. Because ultimately, at least in our line, we are devotees of Radha and Krishna. We worship Radha and Krishna. Prabhupada established the deities of Radha and Krishna all over the world. So this quality of Karuna is represented, it's a Shakti, it's a potency, it's a power. The power of mercy, the power of compassion, power of intelligence, Vidya, Shakti, Karuna, Shakti. So the Shakti Mai is Radharani. So Radharani, she is this compassionate nature. So because we're devotees of Radha and Krishna, we start to imbibe the qualities of Radha and Krishna in a very minute degree. One in quality, but not in quantity. That is the oneness of the jiva. So Krishna has the quality of Karuna, and he has the quality of Titikshava. So by becoming Krishna's devotee, and that's what the beautiful philosophy that Prabhupada explains here, Vamanadev says Madashraya, and then Prabhupada translates Madashraya to mean by tolerance. So Bali became a great devotee and received a great reward because he took shelter of the Lord and exhibited the quality of tolerance, which is one of Krishna's qualities. So this tolerance, what does it mean? It means, of course, it's a saintly quality, and it means that you endure. It means you endure all kinds of difficulties. Because to live in this material world, we as jivas, living in this material world, we must face many irritating circumstances. We must face many embarrassing and irritating circumstances, which will agitate our mind and disturb us. And we may respond by becoming angry, fighting, cursing, yelling, and so many profanities we may utter. But this is due to the pushing of Rajagun and Tamagun. The pushing of passion and ignorance makes one respond in an intolerant way. But a sadhu or devotee is supposed to be tolerant. He is supposed to endure all difficulties. And Krishna tells Arjuna the same thing in the Bhagavad Gita. Right? Matra sparshas konteya shitoshna shukadukada agama payano nityas tam statikshashva bharata. So now, in this verse, shito, ushna. So shito means cold, no? And ushna means heat. So now we had the cold. The cold was here in Delhi. Oh, it's very cold. Oh, Prabhu. Everyone was, all December, January, everyone was talking. It is so cold, it's so cold, it's so cold. I went to Puri to get away from the cold. Oh, I went to Madras. I went to Bombay. I went here and there. Now it's hot. Ushna. Shitoshna. Shukka dukkadha. Shukka dukkadha. These seasons, these mosam, there's sukha mosam and dukkha mosam. Happy times, happy season, and bad times, bad season. So now it's Ushna, now it's Grishma, it's very hot. Oh, Prabhu, it's so hot. Do you know, yesterday it was 40 degrees. Oh, it's so hot. I have to go to Mussoorie. I have to go to Hill Station. Let me get out of here. My air conditioner broke. Oh, I'm suffering so much. So now everyone simply talks about these things. But the devotee, he tolerates and goes on with his service for the Lord. Because he gets strength by madhashraya, by taking shelter of the Lord. So there's an interplay. Rather, there's a connection, a very important connection between tolerance, developing tolerance, exhibiting tolerance, which is a spiritual quality, the quality of a saintly person. There's an intimate relationship between attaining this quality of tolerance and madhashraya, taking shelter of Krishna. So ashraya, this is a very important term. This is madhashraya. My ashraya, my shelter. But as I mentioned in the introduction, that the word ashraya also means position. So the acharyas explain, as long as we are not in our natural position, we will be intolerant. We will be agitated. We will be disturbed. And they give the example, two examples they give, the acharyas. Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad, Srila Prabhupada are great acharyas. Srila Jiva Goswami. A man goes on a vacation, chuti, and with his wife, and he travels to Singapore and Fiji and Australia, and he goes all over the place. But he's not really happy till he comes back home. When he comes back to his home and he's in his natural position, in his natural habitat, then he feels quite peaceful. I'm home, sweet home. So I'm happy. Although I wanted to travel, I had to see my relatives in Australia, and I went there, and I enjoyed many sights and sounds, and it was very pleasurable, but I was always a little uneasy, and I was always a little bit in anxiety, and I was not very satisfied or happy. But when I came home, so when one is in his natural position, that is called ashraya. So the living entity, the jiva, the jivatma, that is placed in this material body, he's in a foreign situation. He's on a holiday. The jiva's gone on a holiday in this material body. But he's not in his natural home, so he's always irritated. The jiva in this body is always irritated and disturbed and agitated by different circumstances. But when that jiva is placed, when the jiva returns to his original position, that is the meaning of ashraya. To be in one's original position. And when you are in your original position, then what do you exhibit? All the proper, pure qualities of the soul. The spiritual qualities of titikshava, tolerance, and so many other qualities. So this is the meaning of ashraya, to come to one's natural position. So how do you come to your natural position? Because the soul in this body, that is not the natural position. And there's so many problems, everyone knows. So you have to find someone, you have to find some teacher or some person who is situated in a natural position. In other words, he has taken madhashraya. That person has taken shelter of Krishna. And that's explained in the prayers of Lord Brahma in the 14th chapter of the 10th canto of Bhagavatam. That this is the way to get out of this material world, to go back to the safe shore, to the safe harbor, the natural position of spiritual life. So this verse explains that. Samashritaye parapalava plavam mahatparam punya yasho murare pravam budir vatsapadam param vivi padam natesham. Lots of padam. Lots of padam there. So here, Lord Brahma is saying, Samashritaye parapalava plavam. He says that great devotees of the Lord, great personalities, sama, ashrita. Sama means all. Complete. They take complete shelter of whom? Sadhus, saints, gurus, acharyas, they take and devotees, pure devotees, they take complete shelter of Murari. Samasritaye parapalava plavam mahatpadam punya yasho murari. Yasho Murari, Yashodanandan. That famous personality, Krishna, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, they take shelter there, complete shelter. And what does it mean to take shelter of Murari, of Krishna? It means that Pada Palava. Pada means feet, as you know. Pada means feet. Vishnupad, Prabhupada, the feet of Prabhupada, the feet of Vishnu. Pada Palava. What does Palava mean? Palava means bud, flower bud. So, Pada Palava Plavam. The feet of Murari, Krishna's feet are very sweet. Pada Maduram, like Vallabhacharya, his beautiful song, Madhurashtakam. In Madhurashtakam, he explains all the different sweet features of Krishna. Lila Maduram, Gava Maduram, Venum Maduram, Pada Maduram. So he says, Pada Maduram. So Krishna's feet are Palava. Means they're like the bud. They're like the bud of a lotus flower. His feet are very tender, and they're pink. They're pink in color. When a lotus flower is growing in the water, when it first appears as a bud, before it opens, it's called a bud. Palava. And it's very pink in color. So the bottom of Krishna's feet is very pink, and it's very tender. But, those feet are compared, Pada, Palava, Plavam. Plavam means boat, like a ship or a boat. So the pure devotees of the Lord, they have taken full shelter at the feet of Krishna. And his feet are just like the petal of a lotus flower. You can take the petal of a lotus flower and you can put it in the lake. And it will float along in the lake. It will just stay on the surface of the water and move here and there. So, Bhavam Buddhir Vatsapadam Param Param. The great devotees take full shelter of Krishna. They put their mind on the feet of Krishna. They always remember Krishna's feet. Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vindayor. Vacham Sivai Kunta Gunar Navarnane. Ambarish Maharaj, Savai Mana Krishna Pad. Savai Mana Krishna Pad. Ambarish Maharaj, he fixed his mind on the lotus feet of Krishna, and then when his mind was fixed on the lotus feet of Krishna, then what came out of his mouth? Vachamsi Vaikuntha Guna. Vacha. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha. So, when one has Krishna in his mind, then Krishna is in his mouth. Krishna Mana, Krishna Mukha. If Krishna is in the mind, Krishna is in the mouth. And then, Vacha Vaikuntha Guna. You will speak about the qualities of the spiritual world. You will speak about the qualities of spiritual people. And when you hear about and think about and speak about, you will become that which you think about. You will become spiritual. You will become pure. So this was the verse that's describing the activities of Ambarish Maharaj.